Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my channel, Hooked on Houseplants. My name is Darlena and they call me Chula. Welcome. I'm very excited today because I have some new plants that I would love to show you. I mean, who doesn't get excited about new plants, right? So, the first plant that I want to show you is I actually showed this one in my Calathea uh, chaos video. And I showed it briefly because actually I forgot to include it in the video. And I can't believe I forgot it because I love this Calathea. So this is the one I'm speaking of. This is the Calathea Helen Kennedy. And I've had her about a month now. And she's a very beautiful calathea. I just love the pattern on her leaves. And I have her in self-watering. She's on the thirstier side, as a lot of calathea are. And so far, so good. She hasn't given me any trouble. She hasn't given me any trouble yet. Because we all know how calathea can be. So this is the Helen Kennedy. Okay. Next is a, I mean, I guess you could call it a wish list plant. It's a plant that I've wanted for quite a while and I could never find it. I looked on Etsy. They would have it in stock at Steve's Leaves. Well, actually, I did the notification thing where they let you know when they have certain plants back in stock. And as soon as I would get the notification and go to the website, it would be sold out. So that happened to me 3 times. And so, I'm very persistent when it's something that I really want, and I really wanted this begonia. I think I've seen it on 2 other people's channels. And when I saw it, I just was like, oh, I gotta have that begonia. I finally found it. I got it from an Etsy seller, and it's the begonia Thurstonii. Let me take it out of this pot. I think the reason why I fell in love with this begonia is because of the glossiness of the leaves. I have other begonia. I have another begonia with glossy leaves like this, but I don't know. This particular one just really just caught my eye. I think it's so pretty. So I'm finally happy to be able to add the Thurstonii because I was thirsty for this plant. Thurstonii. You get it. Anyway, I'm glad I was able to acquire this begonia. Okay. So next up, now this, well, I'm not gonna go to that one yet. This is another alocasia. This is the alocasia Tigrina suburba. And it's very similar to the Zabrina, which is what I initially wanted. But then when I saw this one, I said, well, it's very similar. And I think I like the narrowness of the leaves on the Tigrina, maybe a little bit more. And this leaf, it looks like a little bit of variegation to me. Now, I know some of y'all are going to think, girl, that spider might damage. No, It's not. It looks like variegation to me. That's what I'm choosing to believe. And I love her because just like the Sabrina, she has the um what is it? Like the zebra colored or the zebra like pattern on the stems. And this is her newest leaf that hasn't quite finished opening up. And I have her in pond, and what you're seeing on top is just a little bit of perlite because I've been mixing my pond with perlite just to add a little bit more aeration. And she's in self-watering, and already, as you can see, her roots are coming out of the bottom. I had her in fluval stratum first. When I first got her, I put her in fluval. And then for the last week, she's been in pond, and she seems to be loving it. She has a new little leaf down there, too. So I really like this one. I think it's very pretty. And I really love the shape of the leaves. Okay, Alocasia tigrina superba. Okay, so next up, this is an actual wish list plant. It is a Hoya, and it is the Hoya macrophylla or latifolia snow queen. Now, if y'all remember, I mentioned this in my Hoya collection video, which I can link above for you if you haven't seen it. And I mentioned this as a wish list plant because I already have the latifolia or macrophylla. It seemed like I heard someone say or heard it said that the name has changed, but I'm talking about the dinner plate Hoya. So I already have that one, but I really wanted the Snow Queen. Now, this cutting, y'all, it was not cheap, but it was reasonable, I'm going to say, compared to the other prices that I've seen. And it came with these two leaves. It hasn't done much yet. I just have her rooting in water, and her roots look pretty nice. And so I'm really excited to grow this particular Hoya. And if you haven't guessed, I probably will try this one out in pond. So let me get her closer so you can see that pattern on the leaf. I've been wanting this Hoya for so long. And can you imagine leaves like this that are huge, that like really size up? Like, I just cannot wait. Okay, and there's the other leaf. This one is still hardening off. So next up is kind of well, this is a wish list plant, definitely. But I waited for the price to come down because when this plant first came out, it was like, ah, like everybody wanted this plant. Like this plant was just, but the prices were just ridiculous. And there's just no way I was going to pay the initial price for this plant. I mean, we're talking like upper hundreds. I mean, I've even seen them. I think when they first came out, being 1,000 and up for this plant. But thanks to, I guess, tissue culture and them being able to, um, I guess, produce the plant or mass produce the plant, the prices came way down. So it is the philodendron Spiritus Sancti. Now, obviously, this is a very juvenile plant, but I really got it at a good price. I'm very happy with what I paid for it. I love it. Has a new leaf right there coming out. And what I love about this plant is it reminds me a lot of my Billietier crossed with Atabapoense. I just love the shape of the leaves and how long they are. And the Spiritus Sancti has very similar leaves, but they're more narrow and longer. And I think they are just, I just love the shape of the leaf. I love how the plant looks. And so I cannot wait to grow this one out. And actually, for those who aren't familiar with this particular plant, I'm going to insert a picture of how the plant looks once it starts to really size up and mature. So that is the Spiritus Sancti. Okay. And look, she better act right. For what I paid for this little plant, she better do right. Okay. And I just have her in it's really it's not as chunky as I usually go, but it's chunky enough I think for this plant. Okay. So last but certainly not least, y'all gonna be proud of me. I mentioned this in my plants that I don't have in my collection and why video, and I'm gonna link that one above as well. And one of the plant genuses that I mentioned that I don't have, but not because I didn't particularly want, it's just because of some space issues that I have. But from what I can see, these two, I know that they can get large, but they seem more manageable when it comes to size. So anyway, let me shut up. This is this anthurium. Yes, your girl has finally dipped her toe into the pool of anthurium, into the anthurium world. But this is as far as I'll be going. So I did mention in that video that I wouldn't mind having a silver blush because I just think it's such a cute plant, and I love the leaf has like a shimmer to it. I know you're probably not going to be able to see it on camera, but it's a beautiful anthurium, as most of them are. And I like the compactness of it. And like I said, from what I've seen, they don't seem to get too crazy large. And it seems like one of the easier anthurium. So I decided to start, with a more, I don't want to say basic, but what seemed to me to be an easier anthurium. So she is in self-watering. Seems to be a very thirsty plant so far. But I'm really happy with this purchase. And I've had this plant about 2 weeks. And so far, so good. Okay. So, lastly is, you guessed it, another anthurium. This is the anthurium radicans crossed with luxurians. And This is another one. I didn't mention it in that video, but this is another one that caught my eye because it seems to be on the easier side. And the leaves, I don't know if you all think so, but the leaves remind me a little bit of the Monstera Peru leaves. Although these, of course, the leaves get larger and it may have a little bit more texture to it. But I don't know, it just reminds me of that plant. And I also got this one about 2 weeks ago. And this is the newest leaf that it's given me so far. And I also have this one in self-watering setup. And it also seems to be more on the thirsty side. So I'm really happy with my Ethereum, y'all. I hope um, they do good for me. I think I'm going to be good though with just these two. And the reason being is, as I mentioned in my last video, I said that I kind of had a surprise for you, that I kind of wanted to go in a different direction with my plants. Um, there's a big project that I have coming up, and so my plant setup will be totally different. It's going to change. But the direction that I want to go in is I really want to just concentrate on the plants that I have now, which means I'm going to put a halt on buying more plants. Now, I know some of y'all thinking, oh, well, didn't you just buy some plants? And yes, I did. And actually, I have a couple of more coming. And there's also one more plant that is a wish list plant. But I won't be getting that one anytime soon because I'm waiting for the price to go down. But what I found myself doing that I didn't like is when you see other plant or YouTubers that have plant channels and you see all the plants that they have, because a lot of the more popular ones seem to have very large collections, and I'm talking 150, 200 and up. And a lot of the plants that they have, they're absolutely beautiful. And some of them, it's like every time you see their videos, they have a new plant. And what happens with me is I'm like, oh, wow, that is a beautiful plant. And I feel like I need to get it just because it's a beautiful plant. And a lot of times I don't stop to think, number one, do you really have the money for that plant? Number two, do you really need that plant? Do you really need it? And number three, you already have a large collection that you're starting to struggle with. So, do you really need another plant? And it's not so much competition, so to speak. I think it's more, and I'm not the only one who probably has felt this way. So, but just feeling like you kind of have to keep up, maybe, um, to stay, I guess, relevant. Um, I fell into the trap of thinking that I always had to show new plants, but I don't. I absolutely do not have to do that. And I want to continue to enjoy this hobby. I really do. But I don't know if this has happened to you all, but have you ever started off like, oh, this plant needs to be watered? And then once you water that plant, oh, this needs to be watered. Oh, this needs to be done. Oh, I got to do this too. And before you know it, that little bit of time that you thought you was going to spend watering that one plant, you end up spending hours on plant care. And that's fine if you have the time to do that. I myself do not. And so what I'm running into is I have a large collection, and the more plants I accumulate, of course, the more work and upkeep that I'm going to have to do. And I really want my plants to thrive. I don't want them to just be okay or just be surviving, but I want them to be able to reach their full potential. I really want them to be healthy and happy. And so if I keep collecting plants, it's going to be harder and harder for me to do that. I'm speaking of myself because some people have very large collections, and every last one of their plants just about is beautiful and well taken care of. And I've seen others that have large collections, and some of the plants they kind of struggling with the upkeep of the plants, and it's noticeable. So I'm saying all that to say that the direction I want to go into is just concentrating more so on the plants that I have instead of amassing more, really getting them to thrive. And I really want to get into a more decorative side of it as well. Like I don't want to just have a whole bunch of pots just like neatly lined up on shelves. I want to do some different things with my plants and how I style them and position them and um, get some cute, different looking pots and just I want to do a lot of different things to get a little bit more creative with my plants. So if that sounds like something you would like to see, then stick with me because it's coming. It is coming. So that is going to wrap up our video. And if you can take anything from this video, I just want you to remember that there's a saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So don't feel like you have to try to keep up with everyone else. Don't feel like you have to jump on different bandwagons. Um, there's a particular bandwagon that I jumped on that I'm going to talk about later that I wish I hadn't. So just do you, do what works for you and be happy with your collection. If you want to collect a whole lot of plants, by all means do so. Do you. If you're able to do that and you have the money, then hey. But just do it because you want to do it. Don't do it because you feel like you have to be or to stay relevant. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to thank you for tuning back in with me. If you like this content, feel free to subscribe if you would like. And also, check me out on Instagram, also, if you would like. And let me know down in the comments what you think about the new plants that I have. If you have any of these, if there was a particular one that you really, really like, let me know down in the comments because I would love to hear from you. So, you all take care. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Hooked on houseplants, y'all. Bye.